Alright, hello everybody. This is me doing a little bit of a Let's Build for the admin headquarters in the TestServerDontIgnore server. As you can see here, there's this little mountain that I made using World Edit in the northmost part of the circular city. And it was really tricky to kind of fit the... I really wanted the headquarters to be elevated, to have a certain height above the rest of the city, to give it sort of a level of superiority, but it was very hard to actually decide how to fit it into this mountain once I had the mountain made. So you'll see here in a little bit I go back and do a bunch of edits in terms of the shape. What you don't see is I started out just trying to do like the cylinder shape from the center of the mountain, and it looked too fake. It wasn't real enough, so I wanted to keep it elevated with these supports. But you'll see here in a minute I end up changing it. I go in the top here and I realized that I want it to be more uniform, not quite as uniform as my first try that I didn't have recorded, but a little bit more uniform than what was, a little bit more symmetrical. So I go in here and I edit up the side length, and the number of blocks, just to make sure that it looks a little bit better. So basically this building will be admins only. It'll, be our residence. It'll probably house some monitoring systems, maybe a little bit of our own single player type of stuff. We'll see. I'm not really sure. It was just really kind of like, oh, I need to fill this space, and the city is laid out such that it goes from poor to rich as you go from south to north. And so if the admins are in the northmost part, of the richest part of the city, it should be this really big building. And I definitely wanted it to have a modern-esque feel to it. I didn't want it to be too crazy. That's why, it has a fair amount of symmetry. It's not cantilever per se because the supports are there, but it's elevated, it's cool, it's sleek. The material usage is, marble and futuristic armor plating block, so it comes off very, very sleek and utilitarian, which is what I was definitely going for. That center tower that you see there, I wasn't really sure what I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with that. You'll see by the end of the video. I don't really fill it with anything other than it's just an open space, but I think I might have a bunch of rooms off the side that can be for individual admins, and we'll see that as I do a little bit of more of a tour once I go on. So this is me. I'm adjusting the width of the walls so that I can have the windows within. My initial inclination was to do carpenter wedge slopes on the sides of the window bays to give it a certain rounded feel to the windows, but I ended up abandoning that idea, but nevertheless I left enough room to add them in if I wanted to, so that's why the walls themselves are 3 blocks thick. So this is an aerial view of me coming in. I think I start doing the floors here. Yep, there we go. So the floors are made out of the black futuristic armor plating block, which is one of the more commonly used materials in the server itself. It makes up the floor of the power room and the shops. So it's definitely keeping with the theme there, and I thought it always looks really good contrasted with the white marble. Now I've used a different marble in the past, the fancy marble with the interlocking pieces or whatever it is, but this time I just used one of the chiseled marble. It's chiseled, it's not just raw, but it's pretty basic. I think it just is slightly embezzled. Embezzled? That's not the right word. Slightly pushed out. I don't know how to describe it, but it looks really good, and you'll probably be able to see that more closely when you do close up. So there you can see the tower. It's going straight down into the ocean. I was thinking actually maybe of having like a stairway or a drop or a ladder or an elevator that goes down into the ocean, and have like a little underground laboratory under the ocean, but we'll see. I don't know how necessary that'll be. Again, if we do single player on this in this facility or whatever, then that might be a good idea. You can see I put the windows in. I did a little walkway in the interior there. You'll see I will put glass there in those open spaces where you can see the water through, but there's just kind of like a crosswalk there, which ended up looking really cool. And then I and you'll see later I accented that again in the roof right above it. Here I am just adding more windows. Oh, there was a big issue. If you can probably even notice it now. The back wall is offset from where it should be, so they didn't line up. And I was really confused why, when I was putting the windows in, one of them had 3 windows, or like one of them had 3 block width and on the diagonal, and the other one had 2 block width on the diagonal. So you can see me doing some world edit, trying to bring it back together, and then I finally got it. So yeah, see, I moved that whole wall in, and then it looked a lot better. So now I'm gonna start doing the roof, I think. So I add another layer of the marble just to make the windows look like they're fully encased. Just switch back to a front view so you can take a look at this as I do this. I didn't want to go right to the black roof, and I was gonna have the roof be the same material as the floor because that's always looks nice in continuity standpoint. But I didn't want it to go right to the roof because it'll look like the windows just kind of disappearing into the ceiling, and that never looks that good. So then I got that done, and I was debating using different materials, but I ended up just using the futuristic plating block for the roof. And I wanted to have sort of like a sloping roof, so I did around the interior with the full blocks, and then I used forged microblocks slabs to put around the outside, and it gives it a certain, like a cap feel. I think I cut ahead here because it took me forever to do all of the little forged microblocks. So don't worry, you won't have to watch me do all that. I skip it. Yeah, there you go. Boom, done. Just like that. And yeah, and once I had that together, I thought, wow, this is looking really good. This is really coming together. If you're wondering what texture pack I'm using, it's the Faithful texture pack, which is part of the Feed the Beast launcher, and it's what we recommend to use on the TestServerDontIgnore. It's very similar to just default texture pack, so the colors that I see are the colors that you see or the colors that everybody else see, even if they're just using default. But it's just a little bit higher resolution. It's a little sleeker and smoother. If you see there, I was gonna put I was gonna cover up that black floor, but it ended up looking weird, so I put some carpenter slopes there, and it just wasn't the look I wanted. So I decided, whatever, I'll just leave it. It looks kind of nice. Here comes the rain. Now I'm building the walkway here. Now the issue was the mountain itself was set up a little bit offset from the straight vertical line that divides the city, which is that gold yellow brick road right there. So it's maybe hard to see from this angle, but the walkway has to kind of step over to the right because it's slightly off-centered, which really bothered me, and I wish I had just redone it, but and I'm honestly at this point can't really, because of all the micro blocks. I don't want to world edit it because they'll just get erased, and it took me so long to do them. So I ended up, instead of having the walkway split over as it ascends up, I decided to have it square on and have the walkway coming to these stairs be the thing that splits off, which I thought looked a little bit better. But it's still a little bit annoying that I wasn't careful enough to make sure that the mountain was centered on the axis or the diameter or whatever. So I put a little fountain there, and I made a two-sided stairway there, which is a little bit impractical because why would you ever choose one over? I don't know, but it just looks cool. It looks really cool. And again, this is supposed to be the richer part of the city, you know, the farm on the lower end with more wood and more basic materials. And okay, so this is a zoom in. I'm doing a little bit of a tour around. So that's the elevator shaft. You walk in there and there's an elevator, and it looks pretty cool. It's like a little pod. I don't know. I like the way it came out a lot, actually. And you'll see around the back there's another one. But you walk in here, and this is the big open cylinder that I'm still not sure what to do with, and you press space on the elevator, you go right up. There's me standing in. This is the center room. I think in here we'd have some monitoring stations. I don't know. I honestly don't know what we're gonna do with this space, but it looks pretty sweet. So, and then there's two identical rooms on either side that are really open, where we might have some residential stuff. I might furnish it a little bit, and then maybe just some basic crafting processes so that we can, you know, have something to do while the city's running. Here's the little elevator stand there, and here's the front room, which probably will just have like furnishings and such, and more of the actual items will exist in the back rooms there, the identical rooms. Coming out the back now, you'll see this elevator shaft is pretty similar to the one in the front, and it brings you out to like a little porch deck area where you can get to the ocean and go out to the other islands in the back here. And okay, so here's the zoomed out view. You can see the elevator shaft is really similar with the green glass and everything. That really ties the server together. I like that we included that color because that's just how our logo turned out to be, that lime green, and we have implemented it into the server, and I think it looks really cool. So there's the roof of the dome that looks strikingly similar to the floor. Alright, well, thank you for watching. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe, and check out our server. All the information's in the description. Bye!